6 days ago, I just had an idea for a SaaS app, and now I have a fully functioning SaaS app and a waitlist and payment integrations where I can take money from real people to make real money with my business. And in this video, I'm going to share the 7 things I learned that can help you create a SaaS app from scratch, even if you're not a developer. And make sure you stick around to the end. I'm going to share something that I don't hear anyone talking about when it comes to vibe coding, using things like Cursor and Claude Code to build technology and software for real people. Hey, I'm Craig Hewitt. Welcome back to 100 Days of AI. Today, I'm sharing the secrets that I've learned over the past, not even week, in building out my SaaS tool called LinkBerry. So you can check it out, linkberry.ai. It's a LinkedIn ghostwriting tool. So it replaces the thousands of dollars a month you would pay for a LinkedIn writing agency to create like thought leadership content for you, and just does it better, cheaper, and faster for you. You can join the waitlist, linkberry.ai. But the first thing I want to share actually has nothing to do with software development and vibe coding. It has everything to do with marketing, which is now arguably the most important part of all of this, because in a world where any schmo with a $20 Claude plan can use Claude Code to develop software like I have, because I'm not a developer, I'm nothing exceptional, and I've built a pretty good SaaS app in 6 days, everything comes down to distribution and marketing. And so my tip for you here would be build a landing page and start collecting email addresses on day 0. This is the very first thing we did, and I got it right because now we have hundreds of people, mostly from this YouTube channel, who have come and signed up for the waitlist, whether they just want to see how we do marketing and follow along, or they're genuinely interested in buying the tool. This is a great sign to me and a great asset for me to market to later. You want to send them check-ins and updates and nurture emails and all this kind of stuff, but you can't do any of that if you're not collecting the email up front on the first date. Don't go build in a cave for 6 months in kind of ghost mode. Start marketing and start sharing what you're building publicly so folks can follow along. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, and I'm kind of doing these in sequential order, is I did something else very right, I think, which is I used several different AI tools to validate the concept and plan the work before I ever wrote a line of code, or before Claude Code ever wrote a line of code. I used Manus extensively to validate the problem, come up with an idea, and then really solidify it into kind of a brand positioning statement, a problem statement, a set of jobs to be done, a set of user personas, and that was a really robust tool that I was then able to take from Manus into Claude whatever, web app, to then create a virtual CTO for myself, because I'm not a developer. I don't know how to think about developing this or choosing the right tech stack, which is something we'll talk about in a minute, or any of like how you actually develop software. But I was able to use a really robust kind of scope and positioning statement of this tool and of this company to put into Claude and have it act as my virtual CTO to give me very specific milestones, tasks, and a whole kind of format and layout of how development should go. It made actually building the tool really easy, because then I could then tell Claude Code, hey, go complete the tasks for day 6. And it would just go do it, because we've done all of the work of conceptualizing and planning and strategizing what the heck we're going to build in advance. Okay, this brings me up to tip 3, which is use established, well-known frameworks and technologies, especially ones that Claude Code understands well. Claude Code 100% is the best tool to use for vibe coding these days, way better than Replit or Lovable or Bolt or something like that. If you want to build real SaaS that does really interesting things, you need something flexible and extensible like Claude Code to build real applications. And for LinkBerry, we're using Next.js and Typebase and Supabase as kind of our technology stack. And I did that because it was the recommendation of the AI, but also I just know that like AI tools in general know Next.js probably better than anything else. The one next thing that I would consider is Python, and probably a framework like Flask if you're building a web application. So don't go, oh, I've heard Ruby on Rails is like the best thing out there. It might be, but it might not be the thing that your LLM and the tool that you're building with knows the best. So if you don't have a whole bunch of experience in developing something, you want to go with the thing that the tool you're using knows the best. And for most applications, I think that's probably Next.js and TypeScript, and Supabase for the backend, like for the database stuff. If not that, then Python and Flask. And Flask is just a web framework for building web applications. Okay, the fourth thing is actually something I haven't done until just today, which is to install the GitHub CLI tool. CLI's command line interface is just a way for you to communicate with GitHub from Claude Code and Cursor. So things like creating issues right from Claude Code, committing your code, checking out branches, all these kinds of things you're able to do much more easily with the CLI installed so that Claude Code and Cursor have access to your GitHub repository. And again, GitHub is just a place where you store code on the internet to be able to do things organizationally and retain context, maybe more importantly, talking about planning out your work. You could imagine a world where you plan all of your work outside of Claude Code and GitHub and then use Claude Code just to create a bunch of issues for you to then tick off. So instead of like in my Cursor, I have all of these task lists. I probably could and should have created issues for each of these, maybe even each task, but certainly each day. That probably would have been a better way because now I have all these weird tasks things and setup things in my repository that I don't really need anymore. Way better from an organizational perspective to have put those in GitHub issues that I can comment, I can tag Claude on to say, hey, Claude, go do this. And then I can close, so they go away. Just from a cleanliness and organization perspective, install the GitHub CLI so that you can organize your work in GitHub because as a developer, that's just where work happens. Okay, the next thing, and the thing that I got partly right, but partly needed to get spurred on by each of you in the comments, is to use MCP servers to extend the functionality of Cursor and Claude Code to integrate with tools that you use. So things like Playwright MCP or Supabase MCP or ShadCN, which is like a UI element, service or library, to more easily be able to come in and extend what you're doing in your code base and in your development practice to these external tools and frameworks, right? So Playwright MCP lets you kind of entirely automate front-end development. Supabase lets you create database migrations and create tables and things like that. So you don't have to go into the Supabase dashboard here and do a whole bunch of crazy stuff that you don't really know what it's doing. Just tell Claude Code to do it and it connects to your Supabase account here in your database. ShadCN are all these UI elements, right? Stripe to do things like payments and create products and things like that. So I would say select the MCPs that you want to use. Be pretty deliberate with using just the ones that you need because you don't want to kind of pollute the context and the availability of kind of context within your project, but you definitely want to have an MCP for the things you do regularly. The one that I just added today is called Ref, which looks up documentation from external services like Tailwind and ShadCN and Supabase and all those. So instead of the LLM having to have the context, they can go look these up really simply without having to waste a bunch of context. You might have seen Context 7 as another MCP for documentation. Ref, just a little more kind of slimmed down version of that. Okay, the next one is to begin doing testing from day one. And this is something that I didn't do right, but I caught up a little bit over the weekend, which is doing things like unit and integration testing as soon as you can, because we all just want to go build product. Because actually, it's really fun to go build something beautiful like this, right? Where I have a fully functioning web app here that has all of this stuff. It has payments, it has settings, it has profiles, it has interviews, it creates great, amazing content for you. We all want to go build this stuff, but if it doesn't work or doesn't work right or isn't really good looking, then it's kind of a big waste. So have the discipline to create a feature and then write the test for that feature right then so that you don't go and have a big old huge thing that has a bunch of tests that need to be written. So I spent actually quite a bit of money in Claude and Anthropic credits over the weekend just letting Claude Code run and write about 15 hours worth of tests. And so don't do that all at once. Do it as you write a new feature. The workflow probably is plan the feature, execute the feature, commit it, then write the tests, and then commit the tests. That's probably what I'll do going forward. And the next one is to use plan mode inside Claude Code. And so if I'm inside my development environment here, you see I have accept edits on right now. If I just hit Shift Tab, I enter plan mode. And this is a way where you can talk to the LLM and have it strategize out a feature, and then you can tweak that. It can be multi-part, even if it's a really big feature. I was working on a feature last night that was really big. I had quite a bit of documentation and planning around it, but it had clarifying questions for me. It had me go through and answer a handful of questions around how I wanted to do something. And then I said, yep, that's how I want to do it. A lot of it was different than its assumption or recommendation. So I was really glad I did that. But plan mode is a way to plan out your work, give additional context and refinement to the LLM before it goes and does a whole bunch of work that you don't really want it to do. So even though you've done work on like creating a really robust PRD or project kind of plan in something like Manus or Claude, and you enter that here and it creates a bunch of tasks, that often isn't enough. So you might just say, hey, I want to create the day 8 work now. Help me come up with a robust plan to do this. And you would be in plan mode. It would go away. It would think, it would strategize. It would propose a plan to you. You would then give feedback and critique that plan a little bit. And then you just say, go and do it. And this is how you can really one-shot a pretty big feature because you've done all the work of strategizing and planning, not to use the same word, ahead of time so that the AI just knows what you want, because that's the whole thing with context. It's just going and doing a bunch of work in the wrong direction sometimes if you don't give it the context that it needs. Okay, but here's the thing that nobody, I think, is talking about, which is as software development gets easier to build an initial version like I have with LinkBerry, like 6 days old, the key is delivering value to the customers. Because I think something that has changed a lot in all of our customers' minds, and us as consumers, something that's changed a lot is our expectations are elevated. And they're elevated a lot because look how amazing of a tool this is for $20 a month. I can go build a SaaS app that could literally do millions of dollars next year. And when that happens, our ability to say to our customers, hey, here is a thing I've created. Would you please pay me $100 a month? They go like, hey, why would I pay you $100 a month when I could just go get Claude myself and do this for $20 a month? And so the pricing power and pricing elasticity that we have is different than it was a few years ago. And so the point here is you have to deliver immense value. You have to be ultra specialized and ultra specific and niche way down to do one thing really, really, really well. There's a really hot product in the AI kind of coding world today, and it's called Code Rabbit. I'll pull it up real quick because it's pretty interesting. I'll pull it up real quick because it's a pretty interesting example of this. Code Rabbit, all that it does is reviews your code before you merge it into production. That's all it does. In the whole giant sphere of all the stuff that you can do in vibe coding and developers and software, they picked this one very specific thing and they just raised $60 million in Series B funding. Like whether that's the definition of success for you or not, I don't know, but it is the sign because VCs in some ways are very smart and they bet with their wallet and not their hearts often. This is an indication that they're onto something and they're delivering immense value, and we use them at my company, Castos. They're delivering immense value in a very, very, very specific way that is really significant. And they're able to charge a reasonable amount of money, right? $20 a month per user. And so you imagine big teams are paying hundreds of dollars a month. And so my advice to you, if you're looking at building SaaS and getting into SaaS in the AI era, is you have to fill a very, very, very specific, very painful problem that your audience or potential customers are experiencing, and do an amazing job at that. And that's the challenge that we're all faced with. I think it's always been this way, but it's just more so, and it's amplified so much more than it used to be. Okay, those are the 7 things I've learned building a SaaS application in 6 days, vibe coding with Cursor and Claude Code. I'm Craig Hewitt. This is 100 Days of AI. If you want to check out LinkBerry, a link is in the description below to sign up for the waitlist and get early access. It's amazing, and I can't wait to share it with you.